Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard, and today we're going to be taking a look at the magazine fed version of the Marlin Model 60. This is the Marlin 795. Has a 10 round magazine. It is also available with a 6 or 7 round magazine depending on where you live. You might not be able to have a 10 round, go figure. But anyways, this one's magazine fed. It's identical gun to the Model 60. There's a few other features, a few changes made to it, but internally it's pretty much the same. And one of the things I want to show you is disassembly is just a little bit different than this one. I'll show you an easy way to do that. Alright, the thing you want to do here, again, there's 2 screws here. On this you're going to want to take both of those completely out. Now this gun is about 10 years old, so it does have screws in it. Now give a good squeeze between the barrel action and everything and the stock. Go ahead and get these screws all the way out. There's a longer one, there's a shorter one. The shorter one goes in the front there. The longer one goes in the back. Once you've got those 2 screws out, you're going to want to take your trigger assembly out of there, because you've got this bolt release right here and you've got the magazine release right there. With the tube fed version, you just pull the action, everything right out of the stock. This all stays in there and it's good to go. This one you'll want to pull up on it a little bit. It is plastic. Get that pulled up. That's kind of a little squeeze on the mag release there, and then you'll want to take the trigger guard and pull it out at an angle a little bit, because this bolt catch right here, the bolt release, is kind of angled, so you can't just pull it straight off. You got to roll it to the side a little bit, and then you can go ahead and pull the action, everything right out of the stock. Again, this action and everything is pretty much identical to the magazine or the tube fed magazine. You'll notice there is a magazine on here, obviously. There is the hole right there where the tube would have gone in there. It's the same parts pretty much. It's just been modified to be a magazine fed instead of tube fed. Again, same thing. You got the pin on the back here. Pull that pin out. All this just lifts right off. Your bolt and everything. This is identical to the Model 60. Just a little bit different because it's magazine fed. We're not going to go into much detailed disassembly on this one. If you need to check it out, you can check out my other video on the Marlin Model 60, and it's the same thing. Once you get to that point, everything comes out the same. Again, putting it back together, you'll take your stock, put everything, line it all up, put it all right back in there. Hold on to it right up in about where your rear sight is on there. Just kind of put a little squeeze on it so it doesn't wiggle around on you. Take your trigger guard, put it right back in there. Put your 2 screws. Remember, the long one goes in the back, short one goes in the front. Now I picked this gun up used at a Cabela's in their gun library. I got it about half price of what it normally runs. This is about a $200 gun. It actually runs probably a little less than $200. I think the MSRP, if you get on Marlin's website, is about $195, somewhere around there. And the MSRP is never what the street price is. I've seen it anywhere from $129 on sale up to like $179 not on sale. So it's not a real expensive gun. This is kind of the I guess the beginners or cheap versions of some 22 rifles. If you want to get into plinking, or just you're already an avid shooter and you want to just get something you can take out there to the range and plink away with, this is a good choice for it, especially if you like the magazine fed as opposed to the tube fed. But we're going to go ahead and get a few rounds loaded up in this thing. We'll put some Remington Thunderbolts in it, take it out on the range. I know they cycle great in the Marlin Model 60. We'll see how it does in the 795. Shouldn't really be any difference. It's the same gun, just a different feeding mechanism on it. Alright, I got the Marlin Model 795 out here on the range. We're going to go ahead and get the magazine loaded up, and we're going to take a few shots at the 10-yard target up here. Again, this is a stick style magazine. Now there are no finger pins or notches or whatever on here, so just push it down in there and push it in and keep on going until the magazine's full. Like I said, this is a 10-round magazine. They do make it in a, I think it's a 7-round magazine. Not sure why, 10 rounds. I mean, this is the perfect squirrel gun, rabbit gun, if you're just out, you know, plinking, whatever. It's a good gun. Now, this one being used, I did take it completely apart and inspected everything inside of it. I didn't see any issues with anything in there, so these will be the first shots I'm taking with it. And like I said, this one's about 10 years old. I did find a date in there where someone at the manufacturer had wrote a date on the stock there, as I guess as they milled it out or whatever. But we'll get it loaded up, give it a few shots. All right, once you got the magazine loaded up, it goes right in the bottom of the gun there. Push it in until it clicks, and you'll see the catch right there will go in and lock it in there. Then, to get it loaded, get one loaded in the chamber, just pull the bolt back, let it go. It's ready to fire. All right, now this is a cross bolt safety on here. You've got the little button right here behind the trigger, and you'll see when you push it, take it off a safe, you should be able to see the little red line on there. That lets you know that this gun is ready to shoot. If you're not ready to shoot, keep it on safe. Got the target there. From the corner of my bench here to the target is 10 yards. Let's give it a few tries. All right, there's the 10 rounds. This does have last round hold open on it. And to release the bolt, there's actually a couple different ways you can do it. You've got the bolt release right here. So if you want to release it, you can push that down. Also, when the bolt is locked open on an empty magazine, it's going to do it automatically. But if you take the magazine out, release the bolt, and you want to lock it open, you can do it two ways. You can either pull back on the bolt and push it in, just like you can on the Marlin Model 60, or you can pull it back and push the bolt catch on the bottom right in front of the trigger guard there. You can push that up, and that'll also hold it open. It's kind of, I guess the bolt hold open or the bolt catch on the handle, the charging handle there, is kind of a leftover from the Model 60, but either way it still works. And then you put a magazine in it. Of course, this one is going to have, it's got last round hold open on the bolt, so it's not going to let it go. You can let it go that way. Like I said, there's two different ways. One of them's kind of a leftover from the Model 60 because the Model 60 does not have the bolt catch down here. Only the magazine version of it, the Model 795, does. Let's get 10 more rounds loaded up in this thing and try it. Ten rounds, bolt holds open. All right, those last 10 rounds hit pretty much in the same place as the first ones did. It kind of reminds me a lot of a BB gun I had when I was a kid. The sights were off on it, but I was so used to it I could hit anything I wanted, but if I handed it to someone else, they wouldn't hit anything. Another 10 rounds flawless. All right, I haven't mowed out here at the range in a while, plus with all the rains, it's been kind of tough to get out here and do anyways. But I got the big steel target up there, 100 yards. I'm gonna go ahead and take a few shots at it. Now I know this thing hits to the right of where I'm aiming at, so I'll have to, shift over to the left a little bit at 100 yards. It's probably gonna be off quite a bit because at 10 yards, it's off about 1.5 inches. Let's see if I can do it anyways. At 100 yards, it's probably shooting about, I'd say about a foot to the right. It's kind of hard to tell without actually going up there and seeing right exactly where I was hitting. But I mean, it's a plinking rifle. It could be tuned in a little bit to make it a really good squirrel gun or rabbit gun or something. But for plinking, especially at something, 25 yards or so, you ought to be able to do great with it. It's a fun gun. I've shot 40 rounds through it there. I've got 10 more rounds. I just stuffed a few in my pocket to bring it out here on the range. we'll go ahead and get these loaded up and maybe just take a few more shots at this target up here and just have a little fun with it. All right, there it is. There's the Marlin Model 795. It's another one of the inexpensive 22 long rifles. A good plinking gun, good squirrel or rabbit gun. Just a good all-around reliable, fun little gun. And if you don't like the Marlin Model 60, if you don't like having the magazine tube underneath there, a lot of people don't like it because they tend to accidentally get their hand in front of the muzzle when they're loading it. And that's kind of risky sometimes, but I mean, if you've got an empty chamber, you've got the bolt locked open and everything, you should be just fine. So if you do like the magazine fed version, this is the magazine. It's a 10 rounder. There are some other magazines that are available for this gun to increase the capacity on it. There are some kits by companies like M-Carbo and stuff that have different components for these guns. If you don't like the plastic trigger guard and everything, there are other accessories you can get for this gun. It's just a good, reliable gun. Anyways, that's my take on it. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you could, hit this button up here so you can subscribe if you haven't already, and then you can check out some of my other videos over here. Thanks for watching Small Caliber Arms Review.